We're back to recap the college football playoffs. We had the Fiesta Bowl this past week. We haven't recorded since last Wednesday, right? Last Wednesday, right before the playoffs started on Thursday. It was Miami against Ole Miss. Miami was favored by 3.5. Ole Miss played really, really fucking good. They would not go away at all. Almost pulled it off, but Miami and Carson Beck, kind of a mixed bag in that game as well, but just did enough to pull it through. And just the line, like Miami's line was just so fucking huge. They really collapsed the pocket on Ole Miss too, especially a few times. Chambliss had some really great throws, came in the clutch, almost got that, almost brought them back down to win that. I was kind of surprised just like what a great game it was. It definitely hit the over. I think we were leaning on the under on this one. I can't remember. It was over 52. Over under 52. Aaron, you took Ole Miss with the points, leaning with the Miami win, and they barely missed it by half a point. It was a tight contest, but Miami's going to get the play at home next Monday. And then we had the Peach Bowl with Oregon, Indiana. Indiana just playing lights out, looking like one of the most dominant teams that we've had in the past decade. Not sure how you guys feel about that, but they just manhandled Oregon. And the ending score was not even close of like how badly they got their ass beat. So let's start off with the Fiesta Bowl, though. Thoughts on that? We'll go from there.
Yeah, you said it kind of in the recap of that game. We talked about it in the preview and where Miami's strength is and what Mario Cristobal got this team. Like, yeah, the trenches, the defensive line, the offensive line, where this team is able to excel. And in the past, that's where always SEC teams owned the line of scrimmage. They had all the incredible skill players, but, they had those big guys up front on both ends to be able to dominate. And that's what Miami has. I mean, they got a great complement of skilled players, but the offensive line making the holes for, Fletcher on the ground, who had over 133 yards rushing, even at the backup at 54 yards rushing in the game. That opened things up for Beck. Beck didn't have to be spectacular. He obviously had the interception, but, Marion in the pass game was able to, get over 100 yards receiving. And so, offensively, just moving the ball through the trenches on the offensive line was there. And defensively, yeah, I mean, Chambliss has been tough all year, even in the elite SEC defenses to take down. And that's where I think Miami was able to keep pace and keep this game tight. I mean, early on, it kind of felt like, man, is Miami just going to have this? Ole Miss was able to kind of stay in the game, as they kind of exchanged touchdowns and field goals there in the fourth quarter. But, all props to Miami go into this. I think this is the team we expected at the beginning of the year that they would be. Just didn't know what the in-game stuff was going to be for Cristobal in the coaching end, like we always talk about. So, but they kept true, man. They kept the running game going. They opened things up for Beck. Beck had to make plays when kind of necessary in the game. And I mean, is it too early to go on my SEC rant, Rome? You want me to save that, or you want me to do this now?
You've been on a lot of SEC rants all year, so if you want to recap what you've been doing.
It's not what I've been doing, Rome. It's just what we're talking about. Yeah. I mean, we had to have the discussion about my Notre Dame Fighting Irish not getting into the playoff, and it was Miami versus Notre Dame, and blah, 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 all about that. But we had to get 3-loss Alabama in after they get blown out in the SEC championship game. And then we got to hear, Paul Feinbaum and all these other SEC homers come out. Feinbaum's supposed to leave the country. That's what I saw. There was some interview. If an SEC team didn't make it to the national title, he said so on something at the beginning of the year that he was leaving the country. And so I think he should at this point, because now 3 years in a row, there's no SEC team in the final. So we expand this thing to 12 teams. And we get, what, five SEC teams made the college football playoff this year?
That is correct, yes.
Only one of them makes the Final Four. I know they had to play each other or whatever in some of those things. But the best team that you get in the Final Four is one that their coach left the team. And then you don't even get them to the championship game. And this is supposed to be the best conference that defaults. Everything's harder in the SEC and da-da-da-da-da. And, yes, that was true pre-NIL 10 years ago. Everything's harder. It's no longer the case, man. Indiana, dominant. Miami, they got guys able to get to this game. Oregon, wasn't a great showing. We'll talk about that a little later, but still got some guys too. There is just more depth across the breadth of college football. So as we look at, 10 months from now, and we got to have another annoying conversation about the college football playoff, and then we're pining over like the 9th and 10th SEC school and how their, 3-loss schedule should be in because of this and that. Like, I want to remind these moments when we get into the playoffs and the SEC's got to play other conferences. They are not far and away above everybody else. Ole Miss is a really good team. This was a really good game. However, you're still not showing up when it matters the most, and your conference isn't as hard as what you're talking about. Yes, it's difficult and this and that, but your teams aren't showing up at the biggest moment, and that's 3 years in a row right now. So Miami, Indiana, both better than the SEC schools, obviously, as they clear their way to the national title. But man, what are we going to be talking about, Rome? I'll book it in mid-November. We're going to be talking about like 3-loss Missouri and 3-loss Tennessee and why they should be into the playoff versus like 1-loss BYU or something like that.
Hey, don't forget Texas and Vanderbilt should have been in the playoff over Miami and Notre Dame as well. So it should have been like 7 teams in the SEC.
Right.
Look, the SEC no longer is the top dog. It is the Big Ten. The Big Ten is overtaking them. I mean, the playoffs now have shown that 3 straight years. And, Miami with 2 wins in this playoff, Rome, 2 wins against the SEC. So, and this is a team that can't even win their own conference in the last 2 decades. So what does that tell you where the SEC is at? Not, still a really good conference, but not, they shouldn't be going to the bargain. Basically, they don't have pocket aces anymore. They can't go to the bargain table and say we want 14 teams, 6 teams guaranteed in. They've lost their stake in that. That's off the table. The Big Ten is now running the show. The Big Ten possibly can claim another national title here if Indiana can beat Miami. Going back, I mean, look at Ole Miss got off to a really struggling start. Trinidad Chambliss struggled. They didn't really have much rhythm going in that game early. They had Lacey, the running back, the hamstring injury had kind of really hampered them offensively too. He had that 75-yard TD run to start the game in the second quarter. Doesn't play the rest of that half. Then he comes back and kind of in and out, not sure where he was at. We've talked about Miami, the defense, the trenches, and all that, but Miami wins if Carson Beck does what? Doesn't turn the ball over. Yeah, he had 1 turnover, but you look at their losses, he had 3, he had 2. They turned the ball over a lot. Miami gets in trouble. They basically, like Jaeson said, run the ball good. And situationally, Carson Beck has made big plays with his arm, and in this game, his leg, right? He didn't force any throws. Hey, let me get outside the pocket. Let me run into touchdown with 18 seconds left, whatever it was. You're going to the national championship at your own home stadium. It's a great win for Miami. Mario Cristobal, he's an interesting guy, man. I mean, guy's got more facial expressions than you can bring. You're like, he's real tense, like, get fiery, pump fist, all that kind of stuff. He's like a Dan Campbell of the college game at Miami. That's who he
was
reminds
pretty
me
animated
of.
afterwards.
Yeah,
he's like, kind of dug it.
So, I mean, he's your typical lineman football coach, just like, get up in there. And for Miami, man, it's good for them. I think it's going to be a really good national title game against Indiana, better than people think. I love Miami getting the points in this game.
What's the points right now?
It's gone up to 8.5. So not a lot of respect right now for Miami. I think Miami can hang and play with Indiana. So, but I mean, look, they got good defense, good run game. They're tough in the trenches. Trinidad Chambliss, I mean, that second half, Rome, you touched on, he was on fire. He was lighting them up. He was getting it going. If there had been more time left in that game, like we've seen in the NFL playoffs, give a guy 2 minutes, I think Ole Miss comes back and probably wins that game. But for the U, look, we never said they didn't deserve to be in the playoff. You can make the argument, should they've been over Notre Dame? They were one of the best 12 teams all year. We already talked about James Madison. Tulane had no business being in this playoff, and that showed basically Oregon blows them out, beats Texas Tech. Texas Tech, I think, is going to be a lot better next year now that they got a 5-star quarterback coming in the transfer portal, so they're going to be a team to be reckoned with for sure. But the SEC, yeah, they got some issues. They got Sam Levitt going to LSU, it sounds like. So they got, looks like Lane Kiffin's got his quarterback of the future. I think Texas is loading up in the transfer portal. They're going to be really good next year. But it's going to be interesting. Being the Big Ten, SEC, I think the ACC will get better as well. And the Big 12, obviously, with Texas Tech. So it's going to be a tough road going forward with NIL, money being spread out evenly. guys are spending money. You got big booster. Mark Cuban's dropping 5, 10, 15 mil, whatever he's dropping on the Indiana roster.
I still think the SEC is still pretty deep, though, man. Like the teams at the bottom are pretty competitive.
The SEC is still good, and I don't want to get that in there. Like they have really good teams. They do. You want to say they care
the
more?
Dominance is gone.
Yeah, they do care more. Like overall, the conference, like their fan base is embedded into what college football is.
Nuts.
You know, just deep. It is built different, 100%. But now you're in a game here where, hey, the local Alabama car dealership is able to maybe, finesse things in the pre-NLA era to get guys to come to town. Now, major markets, bigger cities with bigger boosters that, hey, they can be over the top paying guys to make sure things are won. Like, it makes things a lot different for how, you're able to secure stuff. Miami, I always hear about this Miami and USC, and USC hasn't got back to where they're at through, but hey, big cities where everything's you got big newspapers, big media outlets, like the local Tuscaloosa beat writer isn't going to be doing an investigative piece about some, 5-star recruit that got such and such paid under the table. In LA, they're going to be tracking down Reggie Bush's parents on what new house he got down in San Diego or something like that, because, we got all the media investigators. So it's different during those times. And now, hey, big boosters that went to these universities every which way is like, I want to see my team be good. Okay, I'm going to make sure I'm going to buy X quarterback or get this, that, and the other to make it. Because this is big business now, too. We talked about the different stuff on like private equity money and where this stuff gets in. Like, football is king, whether it's professional or college. And now college football is going to find another level of profits. And if I can make Indiana University into the heavyweight they are, and then, okay, all of a sudden I got money flowing into this university that ways, people are going to make these investments because they're going to be a return on it.
Well, what Indiana has done has been impressive, man. What Signetti has done in this 2 years, it is.
But it doesn't happen with NIL, and it doesn't happen about money.
Yeah. But who else has done it? Like, this is like unprecedented. Like, this is like crazy.
I mean, look, what Kurt Signetti's done at Indiana is crazy. But if we go back 5-6 years ago, no way Indiana's this good right now. I mean, they just wouldn't be able to buy players, transfer portal, all that. I mean, you can go from being a bad team to really good overnight.
Yeah, but still, like that, this is still an anomaly. Like how good they became. No one's doing that. Like you still can't get there.
It's the best.
You're gonna tell me Missouri's gonna become a national champion in like 2 years?
No, it depends who it is.
Look at Vanderbilt. Look at Vanderbilt, guys.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, Vanderbilt's been a laughing stock of college football my entire life. Even Nick Saban for the last 2 years on TV has laughed, and now he's like, I can't talk shit on them. They're real. They're legit. They're spending money now.
I think when you look at the transfer portal and how many guys are kind of like available, roam, and you can make these quick fixes. I mean, this is, you got a lot of cap space in the NFL or whatever it is. Okay, I can make some quick advancements. I mean, Signetti doing it better than most. Like I had talking to friends this weekend. Is he going to be up? He wins the national championship. Is this the type of guy that's going to be like, all right, I'm going to go to the NFL now? Because
I don't think so.
I don't think so
he's
either.
Got a $94 million deal at Indiana. Why would you go to the NFL and get fired in 3 years?
I agree, because I think these guys like Signetti that, hey, they could be a master of this era and how this works. I mean, some guys aren't built for this because
Signetti has like that Saban aura. He's really confident.
He worked with Saban.
Yeah, he's building something there.
But it's different.
I mean,
Saban got out because he didn't like the way this was going and what he was going to have to do to get there. But Signetti got him out.
I don't think Alabama has as much money as some of these other schools. I mean, another thing about Indiana, let's just be honest. Indiana last year had they basically had the Patriot schedule of the NFL equivalent to last year. They didn't play anybody. Yes. They played 2 teams and they got smoked by 40 on both games. So Indiana was highly overrated last year. And then we came into this year and we're like, oh, maybe they're not that good. And then, Mendoza went from an okay, good quarterback at Cal to now like, oh, shit, you put some real talent around him and some other NIL guys. And to Signetti's credit, they beefed up where they weren't good at along the trenches, added an elite quarterback with some more skilled players. because he is a great, like you mentioned, Rome, talent evaluator. That was what he was. He was Nick Saban's recruiting coordinator.
Well, Mendoza came from Cal. Like he wasn't showing
Did
this
Cal
much
even
there.
make a bowl game in the 2 years he started? I don't think so.
Look
And now
at
he's the
Dante
Heisman
Moore
winner.
with Oregon. He was with UCLA, and now people are saying he's the best quarterback going into the draft.
Exactly.
Like it's kind of weird. Like
Yeah.
he got killed.
It don't look like
now,
that, man.
Now Oregon's got your boy Raiola signed there. So
I did. Yeah, I did see that. All right, back to this Miami game and Ole Miss before we go. It just seemed like I had to look it up because it seemed like Miami controlled the whole fucking game. Like despite it being only 31-27, they had time possession 41 minutes. Ole Miss took advantage of the whole 18 minutes that they had the ball. Like they just, especially in the second half. I think if Lane Kiffin was coaching this game, though, I really like this matchup. I would definitely think that Ole Miss wins this one. And it's like that big what if. What if he got a chance to coach this team? I know they played lights out because it was like kind of like the fuck you mentality to their coach, but this was the game that they could have used Kiffin in. Like this was a perfect Lane Kiffin. He would have outcoached, I think, Miami's coach by a mile. So that's been like stuck in the back of my head since that game.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I know, thinking back to before that Mississippi State game where they were kind of like pushing him to make a decision X, Y, and Z, and why this was taking so long, because it was probably weighing on him that this is a great opportunity. This is a great team I have, and you see how far they go to the Final Four basically of this, and if you don't have all of the program disruption and you have him and the entire staff all kind of locked in the focus, like. Is it different? I don't know. It might not be. It may be like they may be playing with a chip on their shoulder because he left, and now these guys are like, okay, you left us here, and they had a different level. But I think it is a great what if, because we could be looking back 3 years from now, 4 years from now at LSU. What's going to be Lane's success? Does he get back to this point with LSU, or is it going to be like, man, you had your opportunity, you left it on the table, and you never got to the same heights as LSU?
One thing about Lane, like. Everyone says he doesn't win wherever he goes, but he's done pretty well at his last few stops. He got Florida International, or whatever it was, Atlantic. Really competitive in year 1, 2. What was the other one?
Well, he had Tennessee was there for a year, and then USC, right?
USC, yep.
The Tennessee was he
really 2 years, 3 years? Well, yeah. But I mean, I think, Rome, to your point, he's never really hung around at a place long enough to build it up. Like Ole Miss, he kind of what was he, 5 years, 6 years at Ole Miss?
I think this is his 5th or 6th year. But
was he 2 years or 3 years before USC got rid of him? Because they fired him at the airport on the tarmac,
USC's
right? That's
way before the Tennessee gig. Because after USC,
Tennessee was first.
Yeah,
he did 1 year at Tennessee and jumped ship.
Then jumped
That's
to
why Tennessee
USC.
hates him. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but then he.
I mean, I get it. Yeah.
Went to Alabama. Then went to Florida Atlantic. I think he's going to definitely turn around LSU. So
yeah, I mean, will LSU be patient with them? That'll be key. I mean, I think Lane Kiffin. There's two things. I don't believe he thinks this team could have won a national title. That's why I think he jumped ship. If he believed these guys could have, I think he would have stayed. I think if you look at how he was doing his whole assistant coaches, he expected him to get beat by Georgia like everybody did. He basically was like, I ain't got to worry about my assistant coaches. They're going to get beat by Georgia. Then they lost. Or they won, and he was like, "Oh shit! Like, fuck, who am I going to give you guys? I don't want to give you."
Nobody
all these guys.
expected him to go this far.
Yeah, he looked, he got an egg on his face, right? He basically says, "I care about the team," but he really doesn't care about the team because he takes half the coaches, and then they got coaches on the sideline for Ole Miss. They got a guy from East Carolina that's taking over as the OC next year.
I don't think it's so much about the team. I think it's more like, do you want to drive a Chevy, or do you want to drive a Ferrari? He's getting a chance to drive a Ferrari
that's
with LSU.
basically what he said. He says LSU is a better job than Ole Miss.
Yeah, and that's okay.
Yeah,
but he had a really nice car.
Is it a better job if he's not there? So I mean, if say he stays at Ole Miss, and who knows who LSU would have hired, would Ole Miss still be considered better, have a higher, pathway going forward than say whoever LSU brought in? Or
what he's done at Ole Miss,
there?
what Cignetti has done with Indiana, I think it's very similar. Lane Kiffin, he actually looked happy. I think he was building something really cool. We'll see if he regrets the decision, but I think Lane Kiffin was sorely missed in a game like against Miami. I think they would have won at least by a touchdown or so against Miami.
I think they would have got beat by Georgia if they had Lane Kiffin.
Possibly.
He always gets owned by Georgia personally.
Yeah. Kirby Smart has his number.
Yeah, still does.
Definitely could have been it. I think it'll be the one great what if from, and I think it's a good question. But going to LSU, there's obviously something behind there when it comes to resources, and that's what these guys are looking at. And LSU definitely, historically, has more resources, has a better, culture of getting talent and whatever the recruiting is going to be there when it comes to LSU's like history versus what Ole Miss is at. And I mean, like Lane long time. I mean, the guy was coaching at Florida Atlantic. You talk about in Boca Raton, down in Florida, and goes to Ole Miss and is talking about like the Brown Lake or whatever is in Oxford in Mississippi. Like it's a different place. And going down to LSU, like, hey, this has got national championship history and boosters that are going to, hey, this is the check. So.
I think
Switching
going back,
gears.
I think Kiffin will do good at LSU. Just will LSU be patient with them? Like, is it going to be one of these things where like
I don't think Brian Kelly should have ever been hired. I think Kiffin's made for LSU.
If he win, you're made for LSU. I mean, look at Ed Orgeron. If you would have told me Ed Orgeron would have fitted in as a head coach at LSU,
I like that.
I would have never. I mean, look, they had Les Miles was there for 13, 14, 15 years.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't had a guy like Lane Kiffin at LSU since a young Nick Saban.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest.
Yeah. Well, I never liked LSU, only the Joe Burrow year. So.
And that might be the greatest college football team of this century, to be honest.
Such a good team.
That was a good team.
Joe Burrow, come to the Steelers, man. We'll treat you well. Let's make it happen. I had a dream about it the other day. It was really weird. Dreaming about quarterbacks on your team.
You need one. Steelers need one.
Yeah. All right, so let's go switch gears to the Peach Bowl. Oregon, Indiana. It was 56-22, but it was never that close. Oregon got some points in the second half, but honestly, it was done in the second quarter. I can't remember what the score was. Maybe you guys can refresh my memory. It was just a little too long. I feel like it was like 30-something to 7 or 14.
35-7 at the half, Rome. 35-7 at the half.
It was an ass whooping, dude. It was an ass whooping. They didn't belong. Mendoza, I'm not sold on him on being the best quarterback coming out, or like if he's the right guy. I think he's going to get eaten alive in the NFL, especially if he ends up in the Raiders. That's my opinion. But he seems like a nice guy. He says all the right things. A little too cheesy for my taste. But he completely eviscerated this Oregon defense. And I gotta be honest with you, man. Like I was not expecting like a this much of an ass whooping, like a quadruple down. Was not seeing this.
I don't think the blowout was something we can see, but I think Aaron questioned Oregon's team the entire season of like, this could be a potential outcome because they weren't as good as last season. They did get the favorable kind of pull in the bracket right now to get into this position. Never really had the really convincing win really throughout the year. Not one that really jumps off the page.
Is their biggest win beating USC at home? I mean, who doesn't beat USC at home nowadays? No, that was Texas Tech.
Oh.
Yeah. So I think that was to the point where, man, like in Indiana, I guess we've just been doubting them all year. And Oregon, this isn't the team from a year ago. I see what you're saying about Mendoza for the pros, Rome. I think entirely depends on what coach they're bringing in. Like, what's the investment that Raiders team's going to make? So, like, I think there is a universe where he's going to be really good in the pros. But I think the situation with the talent around him, don't love it. Like the offensive line, they got a ton to do there. What's the coach is going to bring in to develop him? Or if they're trying to get leadership guy, what's the offensive staff to go in? So like that's the match I think you're looking at. I think unanimous where he's at. I think coming out of that game, the more person I'm concerned about is Moore if he goes to the Jets, because that looks like his future in that game would be like the Jets game right there. And I know a lot of people on Twitter were saying that too, because man, that game didn't look great for Moore, and he goes to the Jets. I think it just looks just as bad.
Well, like a lot of the talk before the game was like, if Dante Moore has a big game, he might be the first one. Well,
Mel Kiper Jr. has Dante Moore ranked ahead of Mendoza.
Yeah, and then he gets killed, dude. He got sacked. Got turnovers, some fumbles that led to touchdowns. It was like complete like the worst case scenario for Moore. But he's only had like 1 or 2 seasons of starting.
I think he's made 20 starts. He played for a bad UCLA team. Chip Kelly's last year. I've heard there's a chance he could still stay at Oregon and could redshirt.
Yeah.
Hey, why not collect $2 million in redshirt? That's not a bad gig if you're part of that family. I'm not big on Moore. I mean, I see he's got arm talent, decent mobility. I would take Mendoza over him. And to Jason's point, I mean, Moore at the Jets. I mean, he's going to end up looking like Justin Fields and all the other guys that have gone there. It's not going to end well. Doesn't look good. So Mendoza, Rome, like you guys touched on, I mean, obviously the Raiders have the number 1 pick. Unless they trade out, they're probably going to take a quarterback, and Mendoza would likely be the candidate. I mean, he's a big guy, big arm, 6'5". He can run. He's a bit quirky, nerdy, kind of like an Andrew Luck, how he talks, I mean, he always talks a big game. He seems like a nice guy, smart, intelligent guy. Obviously, he knows, how to read defenses, make some big-time throws. I like him, but, to you guys' point, I mean, a lot of these quarterbacks that are average or good, what do they have one thing in common? They got a good OC. So, guy calling the play. So, you give him a guy, you put him on the Raiders team this year, he looked terrible. I don't care. He would look bad, and the Raiders might win one more game than what they did. But Indiana blew them out. Oregon, just the stupid turnovers. I mean, first play was a pick six, Rome. I think you commented on it like right off the bat. Like first play is a pick six. Like the 2 drives later, it's a fumble because the pass, he goes to throw the pass, it hits the running back's helmet as he goes by on the play action. It's a fumble. Like you don't even blink, it's 28-7. And literally, if you take the turnovers out of the game, it's a 28-22 game. Basically, Indiana scored on short fields and basically a pick six because they got the ball inside the 20 like 4 times off turnovers. You eliminate that, and you got a decent game. They still lose. But, yeah, I mean, Oregon, I think even the announcers in Oregon said, like, we don't expect to really win a national title until 2026, 2027. Their roster is young but talented. So, yeah. Oregon was ahead of schedule, like Jason mentioned, and we talked about all year. Dan Lanning did a great job there, but he's losing both his coordinators. Kurt Cignetti, he's going to keep both his coordinators this year, but they'll be gone next year because they're going to be hot coaches. These guys are going to get paid $6-8 million to go somewhere else. So we're talking about players going places, but elite coaches and coordinators are going to get jobs and jump and get gigs coming up here soon as well.
So any thoughts from the Peach Bowl? I stopped watching it pretty early, to be honest with you.
I would say I was out pretty early too, given in that second quarter. So
yeah,
not a lot of thoughts. This feels, we'll get into official predictions, but man, Cignetti's making it hard to really go against him in a lot of areas right now. And he's laying it on, man. This is like his national championship to lose, it feels like right now.
I think they put a pounding on Miami.
Here's the funny thing. I think Miami's the most difficult matchup of all the teams in the playoffs for Curt Cignetti. I think Miami, Cristobal, he makes a ton of mistakes, but he's a rah-rah guy, right? So he's going to his team, hey, look at Cignetti. He thinks we're dog shit. He thinks he's going to beat us up in the trenches. He's getting this team so fired up. Miami's going to come out and play. I love Miami plus 8.5. I'm not saying they win, but it's the lock of the national championship year. I love Miami 8.5. I would pound them and pound them hard. I think it's a close game.
It is a lot of points getting for a home team at a quote
home team as well.
A neutral site. Yeah.
Indiana does travel well, Rome. They'll have a good contingency crowd there. What was it? 80% of the fans there, 85 were a home crowd for them.
That was wild.
Miami, I think it's going to be probably 50-50, 60-40. Indiana might have more fans, but I think Miami, they want to be the underdog. That's what they've been the whole year. They're the misfits. We didn't belong in the playoff. Cristobal will have these guys built up. They're going to get after Mendoza. I think it's going to be a great national championship close game. I think Indiana ultimately probably wins it. But again, I'll take 8.5 all day.
Are we going to do a preview, or we're just going to stick to the it's not much a preview, right? You either like them or you don't.
We could do a preview. Well, that game's on a Monday. We could do a preview whenever we do our next, football preview for NFL divisional games. I don't know, Thursday.
What are you leaning right now, Jason?
I agree with Aaron. I think it's a lot of points right now, and we talked, battle in the trenches, both teams right there. Miami has the ability to keep it close compared to like Oregon and kind of what these teams go in there. Like I think the Beck turnover at probably the untimely would be something that would maybe lose them the game or swing that into turning it in, blowing it open to beyond the touchdown. But 8.5 is a lot of points for a national title game that is at your home site. And I don't think Miami's shied away from some of these games so far this year.
I think once we get more into the preview, Indiana's played, 3 good teams this year. I mean, Oregon, the first time close game. Say what you want about Penn State. Penn State was as talented as any team in the country. They fell apart, but they took them to the wire. It was a 1-point win for Indiana, I believe.
Yeah.
And then Ohio State was a 3-point victory. So I think, Jason's touched on it a lot. Miami, talent-wise, is as good as those teams. And it's a home game. It's going to be a good game. But, yeah, 8.5. It was 7.5, went to 8.5. I liked it at 7.5. I love it at 8.5. Heck, if it goes to 9. But I got a feeling some Miami money, South Beach, yacht, cocaine, whatever the money's going to come in late here on Miami, get that line down a little bit. They showed up against Ohio State when that line went from 9 to 7 before kickoff. So somebody in Miami, some booster in Miami's got a lot of money. They're going to get this line bet back down. So I'd get it at 8.5 now.
They did, yeah. All right. Any other comments for the semifinals? Fiesta or Peach? College football in general? Transfers? You guys kind of covered everything.
The portals are wide open right now. I think once this is over, I'll be curious on college football format the playoff changes. What conference is potentially going to do. I know there was the Notre Dame thing. I don't know if there's any more news on keeping out, a 2 group of 5 scenario. Is there ways? I mean, the ACC still on my shit list right now for allowing like the Duke, whoever, ACC title game, like fixing that up so we're getting the right teams in there. But I'll be curious on what that will be.
Yeah, I agree. Got to get that cleaned up. I think the ACC is looking at that towards more of a final ranking system that kind of when you got 5-team tiebreaker. Transfer portal's going right now. I think you've got till the 16th of January to declare whether or not you're going to enter and whatnot. And it'd be interesting. The NCAA denied Trinidad Chambliss a 6-year waiver. I know that's probably going to go to the Supreme Court. It looks like there's whatever courts they're going to go to.
I don't think he gets granted. He has no. They're using like an injury thing.
Yeah, they're using like a illness waiver or something. They were trying to use.
Happening.
Yeah, he didn't supply the sufficient evidence. I like to see him in the NFL anyways. I think he's a 3rd, 4th, 5th round draft pick right now anyway. So I'm excited to see him there.
That have really good careers in like Division 3, 2, whatever, then have like another one Division 1. They've done pretty well in the NFL. It's guys like him. I think maybe he has the best chance of having a big impact in that and the NFL if he goes pro.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think he's 3rd round, 4th round, 5th round, whatever he projects to.
It's a good project.
He's got good speed. He's got good arm. I mean, the only downside is he's 6 foot, 5'11", 3/4, whatever he is, right? I mean, we're kind of seeing smaller quarterbacks now struggle. Your prototypical quarterback is now 6'4" to 6'6". But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he gets that waiver, because if he does, he comes back to Ole Miss. If not, the other backup quarterback's already transferred to Missouri, so it'd be interesting to see who their quarterback is, since they don't really have one on the roster right now.
Ole Miss got somebody else already. I can't remember from who.
They might have. Did they?
Yeah, they did. Here, let's look it up real quick.
Yeah, look it up.
It's Auburn's quarterback, Knight.
Oh, I don't even know who he is. They got to get somebody else.
He's a 5-star. He's a 4
yeah. He was third. He was 3rd string, I think, on that team this year. There's a reason why Auburn won 4 games, Rome. Their number 1 or number 2 quarterback transferred to Florida State, so I'm not too hyped on that either. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dude. Crazy. All right. We'll see what happens in the transfer portal. I think Nebraska's making some moves as well. I haven't heard anything about UCLA.
Well, they don't even thank Aikman for giving them money, so they already lost that pocket, right?
That's policy. That's policy. Yeah,
I mean,
Aikman,
man, the guy gives you shout-outs every Monday night for football, and you can't even give him a thank you?
Just need a thank
That's
you.
rough, man.
That's crazy, dude.
That's rough, dude. I mean, you give UCLA more love than anything right here, Rome.
I do.
Texas
yeah.
spending money. Oklahoma spending a lot of money.
Dude, Texas is going to look good next year. I'm liking that one.
I think Texas, I mean, we'll see. I don't know if they hired a new defensive coordinator.
I don't know.
I don't know if they've hired a new guy yet or not.
I've been a little overwhelmed. Like, this whole thing's happening. You know, football's been crazy to end the year. Really good playoffs so far, though. Really good playoffs. All right.
We'll see what next year looks like, Rome.
Yeah. What else happened? I wanted to mention it quickly, but I can't remember now.
Well, if we're out of football, Rome, and at Rome, at the top of the show, you said you wanted to talk football. We did that. Just want to make sure you got that out of the way.
I think we covered that almost 2 hours deep.
Okay, just want to make sure. I would say big motorsports news out there, Rome. I don't know if you heard about
the
this.
Chase.
The Chase is back.
The Chase, yeah.
The Chase is back for NASCAR. Aaron, you familiar with the Chase?
Because everyone complained. All the fans complained. They finally got change happening.
It was terrible. I'm pretty sure I went on like an hour rant while Aaron was off that one day at the end of the NASCAR season, just hosing Denny Hamlin for his championship. Yeah, so the Chase is back. I'll be honest, still don't love the Chase, but is significantly better than the elimination crap they've been doing for the last 14 years or whatever the heck playoff system NASCAR's had. But the Chase is back, and I think that's a huge win for NASCAR.
They're already hyping Daytona coming up here in about a month.
As they shoot the Super Bowl of motor racing, I think that's what they call it, but it's really the Indy 500. But anyways, yeah, Daytona hyping up there, but the Chase, if you just questions about what that is, the Chase was 2004 to 2013. It was in place. It was the first introductory quote unquote postseason for NASCAR, so it isn't just a point system that goes, throughout the season like the rest of Formula One, IndyCar, other motorsports around the world. But the Chase basically reset and put a final 10, final 12, but then it was kind of like a 10 race, point
elimination.
System. Well, no, the Chase wasn't elimination. Basically, it's like you reset them. And the final 10 races, it is going to be, I think, 16 drivers.
I actually didn't like the Chase when they reset it. I think that's when I stopped watching racing.
I don't like it either because it robbed Jeff Gordon of championships because Jeff Gordon was Mr. Consistency over the 30-plus races. So I still have bones. So
basically you get points, and then at the end, the top guys get to compete for the final 10 races. But
as long as you make it in the top 10, you're in and it starts all over. It's like a brand new season.
So you could be like a 10 seed, but you're really like a 1 seed, and you get a chance to go again.
That's how people usually win.
Potentially, you get premium point sliding based on the regular season.
It gives me a chance to win. It sounds like my type of competition.
Could
Just get to the dance and reset the field.
You get premium slotting, so if you're first overall, you got like a 25-point lead over second place, and that kind of descends from there. So if you top in the regular season, you start the Chase with more points ahead, to reward you for the regular season. But the current format was like, okay, these are extra races, and if you don't finish, you're just eliminated out of the first round. And then it get down to that final 4, and when you get to the last race, only 4 drivers could win. And some luck things happen down to it's a 1-game winner take all stuff, which they're trying to create some Game 7 crap. But overall, motorsports, that's not how it works. It pays off consistency in how you're finishing races. And I think at least the 10-game sample is a little bit more. Like I said, Rome, I don't love it because I still would like Formula One and the other, hey, this is the whole season. We work towards it. You need to be good in every race. But I think this is at least something that is, a little more to even on how to decide who the champion is for NASCAR.
No, yeah, it's pretty exciting. I think it's great that everyone spoke up how they hated the way this last year ended. And yeah, dude, I was kind of surprised that they announced it today. That was awesome.
Well, it was a big deal at the end of the season. I've hated this for a long time. I was talking with my dad about it actually because we were as younger, we were big into NASCAR. Jeff Gordon was really my era, and I think that's when I started teetering.
Was that your guy?
That was my guy, man.
I didn't like Jeff Gordon.
No, I mean, you hate him or love him, but he was the transition.
Tom Cruise face. I always wanted to punch. It's that Tom Cruise face.
I mean, he was the transition of the era when you think of. Did you watch the Earnhardt documentary on Amazon?
No. Should I?
It's really good. It's really
on
good.
Amazon.
It's on Amazon. Yeah, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his sister. I think executive producing stuff. 4 parts. Really great documentary. But the Earnhardt to Gordon transition really is kind of that thing because NASCAR forever was like that Southern sport. Like it is about the South. We run all these South like dirt tracks and where it is. Jeff Gordon comes in, and that was really when NASCAR really took its big step into another level of celebrity, where Gordon's this West Coast guy, and they start racing all these different places around. It's got a more of a national appeal, bigger sponsors, like you said. But yeah, Gordon was my guy. But the chase at that time, really post 2001, after Gordon's last championship, like he never caught on in the chase. It was really the Jimmy Johnson era, his teammate, and actually Gordon coned his car a little bit, that won that. But it was a different time. But I think it's good that it's back. I think NASCAR, when I was talking to my dad, like really like hating the playoff and where it's at, it wasn't the kind of the NASCAR we were used to, because we missed some dominance because there was just like some fluky champions. There was never like, you kind of root for somebody against. You think of like Earnhardt, and he was like, everyone hated him until they loved him. Gordon, they hated him until they loved him. Like, I think the Jimmy Johnson era kind of started this, where like he was kind of a neutral party, and there really wasn't in it. And then Dale Earnhardt Jr. never got that big victory where like I think everybody wanted. Like that was, if you're talking wrestling, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was the big baby face that they wanted to win the championship, and just never got it.
Crazy. Nah, good stuff. That's all I got. We're good to go.
We're good to go.
2 hours in, I think we're good to go, Rome. Started at 8:40, if I remember. Got on my notes, and it's now 10:35.
Wow. You take notes down?
All up here, brother.
All right. I'll do it. A nice 2-hour Bill Simmons-esque pod. Love it.
Maybe we'll get on Netflix. You never know.
Number 16, Limitless. If you know, you know.
Yeah. All right, we are done. Catch the Source from the Sofa on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. We are out.